everyone. So welcome to our solar plexus focus practice today. In the previous video, we just did a little oracle pull and it talked about the importance of the solar plexus energy in our lives. It's that center just below the diaphragm, above the belly button, right here, physically in the body. That's where it is represented. It's that fire, that drive we have to do the things we want to do. And so our practice today is really going to focus on that energy center of our body. And arguably, it's kind of that center of like our whole body is kind of right in that area, right? And just a note as well that we have our heart chakra just above. So we'll get into that one a little more in the future, but we have a general idea that's the love, compassion, empathy kind of center of our being. And then we have below the solar plexus our sacral chakra, which is our area of creativity and expression. And so it's interesting to note the solar plexus being in the middle does still have connection to those other areas of our lives as well. So we will, though, focus mostly on our solar plexus, our willpower center today. So we're going to start in a seated, easy pose. Again, whatever version of this works for you, do it. So for me, I always like to do the Burmese style. I'll take the one sole against the inner thigh, opposite inner thigh, and then the opposite sole of the foot against the shin. And feel free to use, I'm going to bury your cushion under my hips. Just that makes that this seated pose so much more accessible. There we go. Okay. And then just let the hands rest down on your knees or thighs. And then you can just slight tuck of your chin, slowly closing your eyes. And take a moment and just check in with where your posture is. You need to roll those shoulders up and open. Feel free to do so. And with your eyes closed, taking a deep breath all the way in your nose. And with that inhalation, feeling the expansion in your belly. And then exhale, soften and let it go. All right, so continue breathing again in through the nose, expanding into the belly, your diaphragm, moving the diaphragm down, creating space for your breath. And then exhale, let's draw the belly slightly in as we let go. So perhaps engaging our abdominal region, our core, a little more than we normally would in our everyday breath. So let's go for 5 more breaths just like that. Waking up our core, getting oxygen into the body. And we know this is how our cells make energy. They need oxygen. When we make energy, we can do the things we want to do. So one more full breath, just like this. And then return to your natural breath, whatever that may be. And just noticing your natural breath. All right. And we're going to move into another breathing exercise known as pranayama in yoga. This one is known as breath of fire. Okay, Kapalibhati is the Sanskrit name. So if this one I'll demonstrate to start, definitely take it in the instruction for the first little bit. If you feel inclined to join me, feel free. If it's a bit much, which it might be for some, feel free just to access that deep belly diaphragmatic breath we were just doing. Okay. So for this one here, I advise taking a hand just to that region of the body above the belly button, our solar plexus region. And just with your natural breath to start, feeling the movement there as you breathe in and out. So bringing your awareness to that region of the body, feeling it physically. All right. And then when you're ready, on an inhalation, taking a deep breath all the way into that region. And then on the exhale, it's a quick bringing in of the belly button as that air comes out quickly, forces that air out through the nose. Now, if your nose is plugged, you might want to try this one with an open mouth instead. And then inhale is quick as you bring the belly out on expansion, and then the same gentle pulling in again on the exhale. And so you can start this nice and slow. Can be done with an open mouth as well. I'll demonstrate that. And you can speed it up as quickly as you'd like to go. But you're really keeping your focus on that solar plexus region of the body. Feeling that pulling in on that exhale. Contraction. So we're really working that solar plexus region of the body, that core region. Let's go for about 10 more breaths just like this. And after your last exhale, just release the technique. You can release your hand down, taking a deep breath in and out. And of course, if at any time this feels very uncomfortable, you start to maybe feel dizzy or lightheaded, just stop, of course, the technique. I always advise with a new, especially breathing technique, you start slow and you start short, like shorter duration, right? See how it feels in your body. And of course, you can stop at any time and move into whatever breath you need to that's supportive. So taking a moment now after the technique into your natural breath, just to notice how you feel. So perhaps feeling an elevation of energy, noticing what that feels like in your body. Or not, maybe feeling a different sensation. So whatever that is, maybe you're just still feeling that area of the body, the solar plexus, because you are really activating that area. So just let your awareness go throughout your body to wherever you feel sensation or energy, and just observe that. All right. I'm going to take a moment right now as well to set an intention for our practice today. So I invite you to set your intention along the lines of working with, so you can work on the specific wording, whatever works for you, but just the ideas around the solar plexus. So working on perhaps your confidence in your life, in different areas of your life, perhaps working on the idea that you are enough, right? As you are. You don't have to do anything to be more enough than you already are, right? Your self-worth is working on that sense of self-worth, of enoughness. Or perhaps just working on your internal clarity of what's important to you, right? Maybe it's just taking some time to refocus on what's important to you, right? Sense of clarity. So I'll let you set that intention for yourself now. I intend to bring more, whatever it is for you. All right, and then when you're ready, feel free to open your eyes and then bring yourself back into the space. All right, so we're going to start nice and simple. I'm just going to do a little work with the shoulders because mine are very tight today, and And some of the poses we're going to work up to, we're going to be using our shoulders. So actually, even before that, I'm feeling my legs and hips with like a little shift. So I'm going to take the legs out in front, just give them a little shake. Maybe pointing the toes and flexing the toes. And then I invite you to bring your legs into the opposite cross position that they were just in. Okay, so if you were like, oh no, I already forgot what that is, that's okay. It's probably the position where they feel a little like, oh, I wouldn't normally go that way. Okay, there you go. And we're just going to do, to start, a few shoulder shrugs. So we're going to take a deep breath in. You can use your hands on your thighs just to help. Deep breath in. And our shoulders are going to come all the way up to our ears. And then exhale, drop them down. Inhale, shoulders all the way up. Exhale, drop. Couple more just like that. Follow your breath. Inhale leads. Exhale, drop. 2 more. I can already hear Steve upstairs. I'm not sure if you guys can hear that. There we go. She is lovely. She is such a person dog, but not a fan of the other dogs. And it's interesting that we're talking about solar plexus today, that like feel, that willpower, because it's totally fear with her, which is kind of that, I guess, the other side of that, of not feeling confident, right? So she sees other dogs, we're like in an area where people walk by all the time, and that fear response, and she just turns into this completely other dog. And I can hear her up there. She seems they must have walked by, because she's all good now. It's a great reminder, right? Like that power that fear can have over us, and it's fine. We all have that, right? But just recognizing that, and then realizing the importance of working with that and working on that. So that's why we're here. All right. So I'm just going to do a little more with the shoulders here. So I'm going to take my right arm all the way up. We're going to send that right arm all the way up. And then we're going to bend at the elbow, just bringing that hand to the back of the neck. Okay. So some of us, depending on, maybe you're like, I don't have that kind of shoulder flexibility. Maybe I'm just kind of like right here, and that's fine. Just getting a little mobility in that right shoulder joint. Okay. So the option here, you can stay totally right here. Option is to take the left hand out, thumb down, and then you're going to bring that left hand, I'll just turn so you can see, so that the back of the hand is on the back, lower back. So some of us will be right here, and you can just hold on to your shirt or tank top, whatever. Or if you have the flexibility, you can join the hands together. Okay. Now, if you're feeling any pinching, it's a no-go, right? So no pain, no strain here. So opening the chest, I'm going to work on diagonally pointing my elbows in opposite directions. So really opening up in the shoulders here. Deep breaths to help support. Let's go one more deep breath, just like that. And then exhale, let's release. Nice. One deep breath. All right. Now taking the left hand all the way up, we're going to bring it, bend to that elbow. And again, that palm of the hands on the base of the neck. And then you can totally stay right here. You're already feeling a great stretch. Option to take that right hand out, thumb down, bring it bend to the elbow. So either holding on to the shirt in the back, or if you have that flexibility, you can join the hands, hook the fingers, and then opening up the chest, and then diagonally pulling apart the elbows into opposite directions. Deep breath. So this side for me, I can tell, wow, big difference, very tight. I'm going to use my breath. And then when I'm ready, exhale and release. And just pause here for a moment. Take a deep breath. And really feel the space that you've created, right, in your shoulders. I am feeling Much more space there. Good. This is what we need. Okay. So we're going to transition now into our cat and cow. So just bringing the hands out in front. Just move the pillow off to the side. Hands out in front. And we're going to bring the hands under the shoulders. Knees are under the hips. So coming into that aligned tabletop. Toes can be either tucked or untucked. Today my feet are feeling like they arch of the feet, like a little stretch. So I'm going to tuck the toes. And we're going to move through a few rounds of cat and cow. So really accessing this solar plexus region here and stretching it out. So we're really going to bring our attention to that region today as we move through our cat and cow. So pressing into our fingertips. On the inhale, belly is down, chin and pelvis tilt up. Really feel the stretch in the belly. Exhale, curving up the spine, tucking the chin and pelvis. So flow with your breath. The breath leads. And really keeping your focus on the solar plexus region. Feeling the stretch. Sending your breath all the way down. Let's go one more full cycle. Nice. And after your last exhale, let's come back to that neutral tabletop position. And then we're going to actually move through a few rounds while we're in this position of spinal circles. So this one I always think of like I'm trying to clean out the inside of like a peanut butter jar, trying to get every last little bit out right with my body. So on an inhale, I'm going to start in the clockwise position. We're going to move through the cow. And then as we start to transition to our exhale, we're going to move clockwise, our torso towards the right. And then arching the spine up into cat. And then as we start to transition to our inhale, we're keep our torso moving towards the left in that clockwise position. As we move back into our cow. So we're just flowing with our breath. No particular pace you have to go at here. Whatever feels best, get your neck and your head into that movement. And you find a region where you're like, I really need to just kind of get in there a little bit more. Feel free to do that. There we go. And then when you're ready, feel free to transition into the opposite direction. So belly down is in the inhale. And we're going in the counterclockwise. Whatever the other direction was that you were going in before. Just really getting into all the nooks and crannies. I'm feeling this even all the way down to my hips. Nice. And then once you're ready, coming back to that neutral tabletop position. Perfect. And now we're going to step our feet, just kind of tucking the toes if they aren't already tucked, and then just slowly lifting the knees, taking a deep breath in and out. Engaging the core to support you. Feeling a little heat, a little fire in the body, and then exhale, bring the knees back down. We're going to tuck the toes if they aren't already tucked, and slowly walking your hands back towards your knees. So if this is a bit much on the arches of the feet, feel free to keep the hands down on the mat for some support. Okay. Finding your breath. All the way down to your belly. Nice. And then if the hands are not down, bring them down to support. We're going to untuck those toes for just a few moments. Give them a little move around. Maybe you're rotating the ankles. Oh, nice. Okay. And then when you're ready, we're going to now lift the knees and walk the feet forward, coming into a standing forward fold. So feel free to keep a little bend in the knees here if you need it. Okay. I'm feeling a little tight in the back of the right leg, so I'm going to keep a little bend. I'm resting the belly on my thighs. I'm letting my knees keep that bend and letting my arms and head just hang. Find a deep breath. I don't know if you heard that, but quite the impressive pop out of my shoulders there. Just letting this decompression just flow with my breath. Any of these forward folds, so good for decompressing the spine and the joints. All right, inhale, let's halfway lift, long spine. Exhale, fold. And inhale, sweeping the arms all the way overhead. Reach, reach, reach. And then hands down through heart center. Taking a deep breath in and out. All right. Inhale, sweeping all the way overhead. Exhale, hands apart, chest leads all the way down, swan dive into a fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Hands down to the mat. We're going to step both feet all the way back into our plank position. So engaging that core, right? Remember, always the option for knees down. Engaging that solar plexus. Feel it fire up. 2 more breaths. And then on the exhale, lowering down knees, chest and chin, untucking your toes. Inhale, bringing up the head and the chest into cobra. Engaging that core. Core is strong. And while we're here, just see if you lift the hands, are you staying in position? That's a good sign that you're using your core, your solar plexus to help support you here. 1 more breath. And then exhale all the way down. Let's tuck the toes. Option to come up into tabletop or hips all the way up. Downward facing dog. So take a moment here. If you're in the down dog, pedal out your down dog. So that means it's bringing one ankle down towards the mat. And you bend the opposite knee and then transition to the other side. Remembering to breathe. I'm going to come into a stationary version now. So there's really no need to bring the ankles all the way down to the mat. More focusing on pushing the fingertips into the mat. Let your head hang. And we're drawing the hips upward, long spine. You're drawing the scapulas, the shoulder blades onto your back. And it's this gentle pulling of the backs of the upper legs towards the bottom of the mat. Finding your breath. Nice. And then when you're ready, on an inhale, we're going to step both feet all the way forward. Coming into our forward fold. Again. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. And this time we're going to bring the hands all the way down to the mat. And on an inhale, we're going to bring the hands forward. And then you can either come all the way up if that feels better, or when you get almost up, we're going to bring the hips back down like we're sitting in a chair. So lots of options in chair pose. So I'm bringing the weight of my body, on the backs of my feet, so I can even like lift my toes and I'm still okay. And it's like you're sitting on the edge of a chair, okay? Engaging the core big time here, okay? Arms can either be, just making sure the arms are in the shoulder joint. They can be parallel, okay, to the floor. They can be up, okay? Or they can be palms together at the heart center. So whatever feels best for you. Okay, let's find our breath here. Deep breath in and out. Let's go 1 more. You got this. And then inhale. Let's come all the way up. Upward salute. And then exhale, hands down through the heart center into mountain. Nice. That's a toughie. Okay, deep breath in and out. Really feeling the fire, the energy, that heat building. And noticing when you come into those tough, challenging poses, right? It requires your will. It requires I'm putting my energy here to make this happen, right? And how that expresses for you. And can you use your breath to help support you with that. Nice. And now inhale, let's bring the arms all the way back up. Exhale, we're going to do the swan dive, so arms apart, chest leads all the way down to your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. This time, hands down to the mat, and we're going to step all the way back into our plank again. So always the option for the modified plank. Find your breath. Deep breath in. And then on your exhale, option 2, bring down the left knee and bringing the left hand under the left shoulder. And then rolling open onto that inner part of the right foot as you guide the right arm all the way up into a modified side plank. Okay. Now, if you want to try the full side plank, totally an option. You're just going to keep both legs long, right? You roll on the outside of the left foot and then bringing the top arm all the way up. Okay. So trying to keep the body in that one long line. So for me today, I'm enjoying the modified version. You do what you need to do for this one, okay? So there's definitely some balance here too, and really having to engage that core, right? To keep yourself centered. So gaze can be up the top hand, it can be forward, it can be down at the mat, whatever is best for you. Finding your breath. Nice, one more breath. And then exhale, I'm going to take that top hand all the way forward and down. And then we're going to step that left leg long again. One more breath. And then exhale, let's bring both knees down. Let's bring them nice and wide, big toes together. Hips back onto heels into child's. And finding your breath. So always important when we come into those big poses, and side plank for me is one of those big poses. I find just to manage your energy, right? Can you give yourself some rest to help support your energy for when challenges do come? That's just something I'm always working on, remembering the importance of that. Let's take another deep cleansing breath. Nice. All right. And when you're ready, you can just bring yourself back up into that full plank push-up position again. Okay. So again, feeling your strength in your core, that one long line. One more breath. Nice. And then when you're ready on an exhale, we're going to bring down that right knee, making sure that right hand is under the right shoulder. Fingers are spread wide. And there's the option to roll on that inner left foot and bring that left arm all the way up into your side plank on the other side. So again, the option to do the full side plank with both legs long as well. Finding your breath. Engaging your core. If you're feeling a little wobbly like I am, totally normal. Engaging my core, getting strong, coming back to my center. Let's go one more full breath. Doing great. All right. And I'm going to take that top arm, reaching it forward and down. And this time, lengthening the right leg back into my plank. Again, nice and long and strong. Deep breath in. And then on an exhale, I'm going to lower down the knees, chest and chin, all the way down to the mat. Okay. Now taking both arms down long at my sides. We're going to move into a pose called bow pose. And it can be a challenging pose for sure, but what I love about it is there's lots of options with bow pose. So I just want to really reiterate, like we always do, for you to do what's right for you. So start with the beginning of it. maybe today that's as far as we get. And then we will definitely revisit both poses in the future. And then you'll grow over time with it. Okay, so really important not to push yourself, because you could really, absolutely, as with any action, you could hurt yourself. And that is definitely not our goal here. Okay, so we're going to bring a bend to both knees to start. Okay, so forehead is just on the mat. And this might be already like, okay, that's pretty good. I'm feeling a nice stretch in my quads. Next step would be to take both feet, the hands on both tops of both feet. And this is a wonderful starting point. So this, again, we're just emphasizing the stretch even more, okay? The next step would be, when you're ready, on an inhale, so very similar to the locust pose that we did the other day, we're going to push into our pelvis and our abdomen into the mat on an inhale as we guide up, and we push the tops of the feet into our hands as we guide up our knees, our chest, and our head. So there's no need to like really push this. For me, if I go any higher, I can try, but I'm more likely to hurt my lower back. And also I'm noticing my knees start to splay apart. And that's a sign that I'm pushing it too far. Okay. So when you're ready, coming into your expression of bow, watch your breath. Can you keep an ease of breath? If not, that's a sign you're pushing it too far. So keep with your breath. Feeling that solar plexus region supporting you. Strong. One more breath. And then when you're ready, on an exhale, lower everything down. Arms are down at your sides. Let everything just release. Bringing a bend to your right knee. You can use your hands to help support you with this. Here we go. There's an option here to bring hands as a pillow, and you can come onto the left cheek. Or if it feels better on your neck, you can turn your head towards the left and rest on the right cheek. So whatever feels best for you. Finding your breath. So giving yourself that time to refocus. And regenerate. And so just staying with your breath. One more deep breath. And after your exhale, you can slowly lengthen that right leg. And then we're going to transition to the other side. So taking the left leg, bringing it bend. And again, using the hands as a pillow, your head can either be turned towards the left or right, whatever's best for you. And then finding your breath again. Letting everything soften. Feeling a release in your lower back. And feeling your belly now softly pushing into the mat with every inhale. All right, and then when you're ready, we can bring some length to that left leg. And then just bringing your hands under your shoulders to help support, pushing you back up through tabletop. And we're going to bring the knees nice and wide, big toes together. And then hips back on the heels, coming into child's for just a few more breaths. Nice. All right. So when you're ready, you can slowly use your hands to bring your torso all the way back up. And we're just going to swing our feet just out to the sides, bringing a bend to the knees, keeping the soles of the feet about hip distance apart, but flat on the mat. We're going to transition into boat pose. So this one is a big core pose for sure. So to start, I'd advise with the hands just down to your sides. And then you can just slowly walk your hands back as you bring your torso back. So you just want to make sure first of all, your seat is nice and square, nice and centered. Okay. So this is a great starting point. You're just really focusing on engaging your core as you do this to keep your chest open and your torso long. Okay. So another option is you can bring the arms in front and parallel to the mat. Okay, but we don't want to sacrifice that integrity in the spine. So you want to keep the spine nice and long, chest is open. Okay, so this would be option 2. And then option 3 would be to bring the shins up so that they're parallel to the mat. Again, not wanting to sacrifice that length in the spine. And finally, the option is there to lengthen the legs and then to reach up towards the feet. But again, we don't want to be reaching like this. We want to keep that spine nice and long, right? The arms are in the shoulder joint. So whatever version is best for you today. For me, I'm loving this one with the shins parallel to the mat. So I'm really feeling my solar plexus firing up here. I'm accessing my breath to help support me. One more deep breath. And then when you're ready, you can slowly lower the feet down, hands down. And then we're going to use our hands to help just bring our torso all the way down onto the mat. So we're coming onto our back here. Nice. The knees are still bent. Feet are still hip distance apart. Soles of the feet are flat on the mat. And we're going to take our arms down long at our sides. And just bringing our palms facing down on the mat so that our middle fingertip is just grazing our heels. Okay, setting ourselves up for bridge pose here. And when you're ready, on an inhale, we're going to push into our feet as we lift our hips up. So keeping your head in line with your spine. Option here to bend at the elbows. And we're going to stay with our breath for 3 full breaths. And then on your exhale, your next exhale, slowly lowering down 1 vertebrae at a time. Take your time. And then bringing knees into chest. There we go. I'm going to wrap my arms all the way around my knees and just give myself a little rock from side to side across the lower back. And when you're ready, just coming back to stillness. And you're going to take your arms out at your sides like a T from your body. If you prefer, you can do the goalpost cactus arms. Okay. And we're going to take a deep breath in, feeling it expanding in your belly. And then exhale, letting the knees fall towards the left. So it's okay if they don't touch all the way down, just making sure that your right shoulder is still planted on the mat. Your gaze can go towards the right as well. And finding your breath. So feeling that twisting throughout your abdominal region. Deep breath in. A deep cleansing breath. And when you're ready, on an inhale, you can just bring your gaze up to center and your knees up to center. And on the exhale, slowly transitioning to the other side. So knees fall to the right, gaze is to the left. Finding your breath. Nice. And then when you're ready, just bringing the knees up through center Again, giving yourself one last hug. Head towards your knees. And then you can slowly open up all the way into your final Shavasana position. So feel free to do whatever you need to do to support yourself in your final Shavasana. Maybe getting a blanket or a cushion, whatever you need. Get comfortable. So let your feet roll apart, legs are long, arms out at your sides, palms facing up. And if you haven't already, slowly closing your eyes, making any final adjustments before you come to stillness. Taking a deep breath all the way in and out. And just letting yourself completely let go with your exhale. Let every muscle just relax and soften for these last few moments. So feel free to stay a little longer in your Shavasana if you need to. But if you're ready to slowly come out, you can bring a little movement into your fingers and toes. Maybe giving yourself a nice full body stretch all the way overhead. And then you can just slowly bring yourself onto one side for a few more breaths. There we go. And in your own time, you can slowly bring yourself all the way back up to our seated cross-leg position. And keeping the eyes closed, let your hands just rest on your knees or thighs. And let's take a deep breath in your nose and out the mouth. And just let yourself settle here for a few more moments. And I invite you to say along with me just a little affirmation to help us work with the energies of the solar plexus. And so you can say this just quietly to yourself when you're ready. I am powerful, confident, and in control of my choices in my life. I am powerful, confident, and in control of my choices in my life. I am powerful, confident, and in control of the choices in my life. Just sitting in the energy of that affirmation. And when you're ready, taking the hands, palms together, thumbs pressed into the heart center. And one deep breath all the way down to the belly, feeling the expansion. Exhale, letting it go. Taking a final moment of gratitude for this time and space for our practice together today. Namaste. All right. Well, I hope you guys really enjoyed that solar plexus focus practice. Oh, it really felt like what I needed today. Kind of coming out of the holiday mode and going into the work mode. So just to mention about that too, I'm definitely going to keep posting these throughout the year, even though I'm back to school stuff. At least once a week is my goal. We'll see how it goes. You never know, might be even more often than that. I know I could definitely use it more often than that. So yeah, definitely stick with me. If you like this, feel free to give it a like and a subscribe. And anything you like to share in the comments, feel free. All right, guys, I hope that helps you into the rest of your day. Take care.